Hello, I'm John and welcome to another Arty class tutorial hosted by Shopkeep Arty, the online platform helping everyone to be inspired, learn new art skills and have fun. Today we're zooming to Cape Town, South Africa, where we'll be joining professional acrylic artist Derric van Rensburg to paint a wild and free Tarentaal or Guineafowl. I've heard that they are like a meal on wheels, so Derric said, because they are absolutely everywhere and you can't avoid hitting them and they taste delicious. So I can't wait. This is being broadcast live and I love being live. It's the best way to learn, as you can ask questions directly to the artist as you paint along. If you're watching a recording of this event, sorry you missed it, but you can find a full list of materials and reference photos on the link in the description below. You can also see a link to our upcoming live events, so maybe you can try joining one of our free live webinars sometime. So without further ado, let's hit the travelometer to the left of me and go and see Derric. So Derric is an internationally renowned South African impressionist artist and is well known for his abstract wildlife and colourful landscapes. Since his first exhibition in Cape Town 43 years ago, Derric has also exhibited in Portugal, England, Italy, Australia, Germany and the US. Hello, Derric.
Greetings everyone. Greetings, John.
Yes, it's nice to be back with you again. I've been actually a little bit concerned though about all those forest fires around Tabletop Mountain. How is it now under control?
It is under control, but it was devastating, and you know it hits UCT or University of Cape Town, and some very valuable library collectible priceless pieces were lost in the fire. The disruption was incredible, and the devastation has just shocked everyone.
So someone's been arrested, haven't they? I heard.
They have, and I'm not a political know-it-all, but I don't know. I don't know what the outcome will be.
No. Right, well, we'll get off that gloomy subject and I'll let you get ready to make a start on the more joyful Arty class. And while you do that, I'll just finish my introduction. So Shopkeep Arty holds a number of live shows throughout the week, and these free Arty class webinars are designed to give you a good introduction to a featured artist, as well as a short, sharp boost of creative inspiration. We're continually hunting out leading artists from around the world, giving you the opportunity of spending some time with them and experiencing different multicultural techniques and influences. With limited time in these free classes, it's difficult to create a complete work of art. However, you should get a good feel for what might be accomplished if you had more time. So therefore, around halfway, we'll take a pause and I'll ask Derric to expand on his full 2 to 3 hour workshop webinar that's going to be taking place next week. So without further ado, let's get back to Derric and we'll make a start on these Tarentaal. Hello, Derric, again. And I'm loving that picture behind you. You've painted that quite recently, I understand.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Before the fire. We have these clouds that come over that's nicknamed a tablecloth.
Yeah.
And it really is quite incredible. It's a wonderful sight. It can be pretty dangerous if you're not prepared and you're a hiker. Many locals know to stay out of those sort of conditions, but there are brave travelers that come here and climb it anyway.
Yeah. It's a stunning picture. So how should people have obviously got their acrylics or whatever in front of them. How should people make a start on this? I see you've got your board ready. Let's show people that, and you've got your reference pictures and everything. So how should we start?
Okay, so my approach when it comes to wildlife or bird life is a little different from my landscapes. I'm looking for the same kind of thing. I want that wow factor, but I want the animals or birds to live. So I'll use broad and quick brush strokes, and then bring in some fine detail around perhaps the face of the animal. In this case, the guineafowl. I'll make a sharper reference to that in a separate little image on the canvas that I'm going to work on, just to show you the detail of the face. But I'll try and get the guineafowl to sort of feels like it's moving and not a static animal. So I'll start with a couple of broad brush strokes, John.
Okay, perfect. Because it's kind of inspired by watercolor painting, it said in
Yes.
the brief.
Yeah.
So, and that was
Yeah.
that's where you trained. You trained as a watercolor artist to start with, didn't you?
Yeah, that was my first choice, and I didn't make the choice because it was an educated one. It was like many other things in my life. It was quite haphazard, and the opportunity just came up one day when I was experimenting as a 12-year-old or 11-year-old with a few watercolors that I had, and I just realized I could paint watercolor, and I also just realized I could paint. And the acrylic really came in at the end of a trip to Portugal many years ago, and the light was so exceptional that in my mind it needed something stronger than watercolor to pronounce it, and so acrylic followed watercolor. But my methodology is that of a watercolorist, and so I work backwards and forwards. If your audience is expecting a textbook dark to light, they're not going to get that. They're going to get both. But,
oh, good. We like surprises.
Yeah, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, let's make a start.
Okay. I'll show you the colors, everyone. I'm not too strict on the range of colors that I use personally, or that in my teaching programs that I use. There are two blues that are indispensable as far as I'm concerned, but that is very much tied up with my brand. One is a color called French Ultramarine. Those who've taken classes with me will know that. Cobalt blue, a red, cobalt, alizarin crimson, one of those. And I could be more specific, but in this short workshop demo, I'm going to just use the first red that came to mind. So the primary colors, I've got a yellow. I'm using lemon yellow in this case. If I want to warm it up, I'll introduce a tiny bit of red, and I will do all of that while I paint, and I'll try and remember to explain that to you. There's a dark blue that I use. I never, if possible, use black. This is called Prussian blue. Beautiful dark blue. And then for the sake of this workshop, a color that I don't often introduce, just a turquoise. I'm going to bring it in. I'll bring in the turquoise rather than mix it, because it will hopefully just bring a bit of wildlife to the face of this guineafowl. So indispensable, finally, not the brand necessarily, titanium white. And those are the colors. The range of brushes I use are limited to a few flat brushes. I like buying very cheap fiberglass or varnishing brushes. As a friend of mine would say, cheap as chips. When they finally give out, you just chuck them away. They're not very forgiving when they get wet. So I have a massive range. I'm not going to show you. But about if we're talking inches, about a 6-inch, 4-inch, and if you can get, say, a 2-inch brush, lovely little collection. When they get badly worn out, don't chuck them away. Go and look in your attics or garage, or visit a friend, and you'll find some really old brushes. Always very useful. So these are hardware brand brushes.
And what are you actually working on? Are you working on a canvas board, or?
I'm working on a canvas board. So I've got a white canvas board. I haven't treated it except it's been primed.
Okay.
The flat brushes, the reason the paint is all off is that it's been doused in water and washed off 100 times. So they take a bit of a hammering. These are nylon hair brushes. If I was doing watercolor and I wanted to be a little bit more explorative, I would go to a far more expensive brush. These are just perfect. A 1.5 inch, 2 inch, and then there's a range of little flat brushes that you can buy. I'm putting them on the white surface so that you can see them. And then you will find, if you can find yourself a brush called a rigger, R-I-G-G-E-R, a rigging brush or rigger.
Which actually lends its name to how it was originally used to paint the rigging on boats.
Yeah.
It's long. Now I'm just a little bit conscious on the time, Derric, because it's great to go through all the brushes and things like that. But I just think with it being 45 minutes, we might need to make a start.
Okay. The one thing I don't do is panic, John. I wish I could.
No, just leave that to me, Derric. I'm the panicker.
So the first colors I'm going to put down, I'll get these out of the way. Ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, a dollop of white, my cheap varnishing brush. I'm mixing the white into the ultramarine, and I'm just going to go in a flurry. I'm virtually work across the canvas board like this. Everybody has their own method. This is not the only way to paint guineafowl or any other bird or animal. This is just my method. I don't know what I'm going to get. That's part of the fun. It's all hopefully happy accident. And this is where the watercolor background is so useful. Is it's very hard until you get down to the detail to determine which way the painting's going. I'm going to mix a little red, a little yellow. I'm going to get a kind of an orange going here. And when I mix that into the blue, let's just take cobalt, for instance. I'm going to get a slightly different, almost a khaki gray. Can you see that? A little bit more white. So the ultramarine underneath is going to form just the first base coat, the first basis of this bird, which is, it's gray, but it appears blue sometimes, and shades of gray. Not to be confused with the book.
And you were saying that they are absolutely everywhere in South Africa.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they absolutely. I think they're quite beautiful, but they are a bit silly, and they run across the road with their little chicks, and you'd think that they might see a car, or hear a car, and they seem to just go for it. Squirrels kind of do the same thing, but they jump out of the way. So that's quite an abstract background. To my way of thinking, if I would make this bird a lot bigger, I can already see it here. But I'm going to try and cram a head in as well, which will be a separate component to the painting. And hopefully artistically, it'll look like it makes sense. I would assume that this tail piece is in fact the tail. So I've got 3 pictures that I'm working from. When I paint wildlife especially, I work from as many as 5, 6, or 7 bits of information about the same animal, and just modify and interpret as I go along. So we're going to have this chap at a bit of an angle, and then I'm going to describe it a little bit with a piece of chalk so you can just see where I'm going. So I'm going to have my guineafowl round about here, tail out here, almost out of the canvas. Has an interesting construction to its head. It almost looks silly and awkward like the bird itself. But to most people's minds, very beautiful. A little bit more white into my mixture. I have a tendency to run away with myself, John.
Don't worry, that's what I'm here for, to keep you on track.
I'll try and slow it up.
I'll try and keep you on track.
Perhaps it's excitement, who knows?
Now, Trina asked, do you usually use chalk as a guideline, or are you just doing it for the benefit of people at home today?
Well, I like to use chalk, yeah, rather than anything else. A pencil from time to time, soft 6B.
Yeah.
But the chalk, even into the wet surface, has actually scored the paint. It's not white that you're seeing there. The chalk has actually scored this. So the color underneath is coming through. Whereas down here, where the paint has started to dry, and that's the thing with acrylic, it dries very quickly. So you need to put down what you're thinking to put down quite quickly. Here, the white is more evident. As soon as this dries, the chalk will be more evident. Anyway, that's a long answer to a very short question.
And when you say chalk, it is chalk. It's not pastel.
Like blackboard chalk.
Yeah. Okay.
The green, just for your info, is cobalt blue, a little bit of yellow, white. So I've got myself quite a khaki, not quite khaki, but a warmish green. And I'm not painting right to the edge, and I'm certainly not going to put in every blade of grass, but I will show you a trick to do that when the time comes. I know when I'm finished, you're all going to be rushing out to hardware stores, buying blades and other sharp, dangerous bits of hardware.
Yeah, I think your materials list need to come with a health and safety warning.
Yeah, that's you. Yeah.
Helen asked, do you use any water, or is it just straight from the tube there?
I don't, but in answer to a question, which is a good question, what happens, water tends to clog everything up, I find. One could spend a lot of time talking about how to water it down, how to speed up the drying, etc. Water, I think, is the enemy. If you could find yourself a flow medium, and it's called a flow medium, and use that instead of water and mix your color into that in a little container, you can get paint to move and run. But there is a thing. It's a window cleaner. It's got methylated spirits, and it does some fantastic things. And I didn't put it on the list. I will show it now, purely just to whet everyone's appetite when the time is right.
Okay.
So water, rather don't.
Is that another harmful liquid that we've got to put another health and safety warning on?
Oh yeah, the window cleaner. It makes a great drink if you're down on your
Yes,
luck.
do not drink it. Do not drink it.
If you strain it through bread, it's apparently fantastic. But I don't think you can function for several weeks after that.
Exactly.
I'm not serious, obviously. I have some bad habits, but that's not one of them. So can you see the tail, everyone? And the head is going to come here. I've ignored this for the moment because that's going to be the focus of the bird. And yet the other bits that I put into it are going to be just as important. Prussian blue, ultramarine blue, little mixture of both, and you can get lovely areas of definition. I've got some hard lines going here, which I like. That was because the brush that I used, that varnishing brush, is rough and ready. And so these hard marks, hard lines, you can make them as gentle and softly as you like, or you can give it stick and apply pressure and get a much darker tonal value. There's a bit of a shadow coming off here, so I'm going to emphasize that now. I'm going to use a smaller brush just so we're all on the same page. This flat brush is wonderful. It behaves like a chisel. So you can get some specific shapes. I'm going to suggest that the one leg is down here, just to get a sense of speed. Meals on wheels. We got to get it moving.
Anne's asked, how do you keep the colour clean when you don't clean your brush?
I know. Practice.
I know. That's not an answer, Derric. I know.
It's a flippant answer. If your brush is, as long as you don't work with water, it's amazing how clean and how forgiving the paint is. So you'll see can you see my palette?
Yeah.
The colors are separated, so that's quite clean. The moment you bring those together, you're going to get mud. Now, the same thing would happen with a brush. Eventually, I'll have to wash it. But for now, this side here is quite clean. Not clean, but fairly clean. This has got the paint on it. And in a few moments, well, let me just do it for you. I've mixed a little red in there, so that you almost get well, perhaps a hint of purple, but at least another color just brings out other, it's very monotone. These very dangerous blades are available everywhere. It's a Stanley blade. Perhaps they're called by other names. Don't cut your canvas this way because you'll cut right through it, depending on the canvas. But if you use it flat and you just scrape it across what you've already painted, some of it is dried, some of it hasn't. This is very much happy accident.
Yeah, that's a great effect.
Area.
It's almost got the textural qualities of the feathers and
looks three-dimensional.
Yeah, mottled almost.
So you let this dry up a little bit, but don't go and make a cup of tea or something. You just stay focused on this, and you can see that the acrylic is wet. At least I can see it with a little bit of light that is coming through. And at just the right moment, use this. Once it's dry, you're going to have a devil of a job to make it work. So too quick, it'll just smudge. Just leave it for a little while.
Louise said, would a bank card do the same as the blade?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not quite as sharp, but
it will do. No, it should do. I'll quickly show you something like a bank card.
You need to make sure you spent all your money on your bank card first, though, Louise. Make sure you spent all the money and then use it.
Yeah, then use it.
Good excuse for online shopping.
Yeah. Or drain it and borrow somebody else's bank card.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a typical hardware thing available in most hardware stores. They use it for grouting and tiling, and it's plastic, quite a hard plastic, but you can put a scissors through it, and I just cut little shapes, and these things work too. So what you might like to do in answer to that question is a little bit of both. Use the blade, but also use your credit card or one of these plastic scrapers that are available at hardware stores. Also pretty cheap. In fact, all of the materials, and I don't mean to be cheap, but I can't
find that they're the best for what you're trying to do. Yeah, that's great. Helen asks, what type of acrylic paint do you use? It's open, heavy, fluid. That what?
This is it. Just repeat that question.
What type of acrylic paint?
Okay. All right. So there are many brands, and I'm not going to specifically mention any. Daler, Rani, Winsor Newton, etc. They come out of a tube differently depending who the manufacturer is. So sometimes they squirt out quite easily, like the Lucas comes out as a kind of toothpaste, whereas this is one of the local brands. It comes out as you've got to squeeze the tube a little bit, so it's quite thick, and that needs a little bit of thinning down, and that's where you might use your flow medium, it's called, to thin it down rather than water. But right about now is when I want to show you this naughty little trick with a.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So.
And then we've got a couple of minutes, and we'll probably stop for the halfway mark. Just to let you know.
Okay.
Or we could wait until after the halfway mark. We could do that now. What do you think?
Okay. Whichever you like. I'm.
Well, let's wait for the this little trick for afterwards, and then we can leave everybody on their seat in anticipation. So, how are you doing? I mean, it's amazing how you can really start to see the guineafowl taking shape, the Tarentaal.
The moment the head's in, it'll all make sense.
Exactly. The second half everything will come together. If you're watching on YouTube, it'd mean an awful lot if you could press the thumbs up. It just ensures that YouTube then recommends this class to more people, helping us to spread the benefits of art to a wider audience, young and old alike. So thank you. By the way, if you hit the subscribe button, which is just there, you'll also get notified when we release new arty classes online, so you won't miss them in the future. As I covered at the start, this 45-minute arty class is a short prelude to Derric's full 2 to 3 hour workshop webinar. In our workshops, we have a lot more time, and you can speak directly to the artist for guidance if you wish. In fact, the last one we did with Derric, we even had a little tour of his gallery, which was really nice at the end. It was a nice moment. You can also get a written critique of your art after the event. It's a full morning or afternoon, depending on where you live, package where you can have fun while also developing your skills as an artist. It's also great value at an hourly rate of about £13 or equivalent to about $18. $9, something like that. In the case of Derric, the workshop will be taking place in 1 week's time at 3:30 UK time next Tuesday, the 4th of May, or in other words, Star Wars Day. Do you know why next Tuesday is called Star Wars Day, Derric?
I'm looking to my niece for support. You know, I had a very shallow upbringing.
I'll tell you, I'll put you out of your misery. May the 4th be with you. That's what
Yeah, it's about the only thing I remember.
So what have you got in store for people in next week's workshop, Derric?
I think we're going to do this. So these are buck that are commonly found here in South Africa. Not just springbok, but many other kinds of buck, huge, small, and this is painted very much on the design of what I've just shown you with the guineafowl. So I've worked a little bit as an abstract artist. There's some realism, so you can see exactly what it is. I've used color, tone, and texture to give a sense that this animal is feeding at a water hole, and there's a sense of late afternoon sun, and it's like a painting sketch.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. It feels like
I think that's the one we're going to. That's the one we're going to have a go at in the full workshop.
Yeah, perfect. And if you are interested in joining us, now's the time to secure your place. So let me just share my screen for those of you that are new to this, just to show you how you can do that and where you can find it on our site. What you do, you head over to shopkeeparty.com, and at the top there's a link there called live events. I don't know why that's just faded out for some reason. And as you scroll down, you can then see Derric's workshop, and you click on that. Seem to be struggling here for some reason on light issues, and then you scroll down, and then you'll be able to see at the bottom of this page all the information about what materials you need. And then as you scroll up there, we've got a 10% off as well if you need to top up with any acrylics or whatever from Jackson's Art that ship globally. And then if you're interested, there's a link, book your webinar ticket or pre-order your video, and that goes straight through to Derric's shop. And on there, you can then see there the live webinar. And if you click that, you can then add that to your cart. And it's in pounds, but at checkout we convert it to your local currency, or your bank does that. Then if you want to order the video as well, the full video is £42, but you get a big attendee discount if you've attended the live workshop. So you add that, and as you can see there, it comes to £56. Once you have done that, and if you've paid for and unlocked the video, you'll then be able to find your video on our website on the purchase videos section. You scroll down, and when you see Derric's video that'll be up there, you just click watch, and so long as it's unlocked for you, you can then play it. And you can play it on any device, however many times you want, and so it's always accessible in the future. Hopefully that helps. Right, let's get back to Derric now for the second half and find out what that little tip is.
So the little spray that I put onto this bird has been there all the time that we've been chatting.
So you've just sprayed it onto the bird, that window cleaner.
I haven't touched it at all. It's just brewing.
Okay.
It's probably got a little alcohol or something in it. I'm going to use that the same blade that we spoke about. Let me put it over a dark area like this so that you can see it. Stanley blade. And I'm going to hold it flat to the canvas. All those little dots and dashes help to give this effect. Beautiful speckled bird it is, and obviously the more spray dots you put on, the more the fuller it will be. Mine's going to be pretty impressionistic. I almost think, I think I've done enough. I'm going to, but I will come back to it. I'm going to just get to the head so that you can see what is going on. Now, this is where there's a beautiful mixture of the two blues, my two favorite blues, ultramarine and cobalt, but I'm going to bring turquoise into it.
Trina says, I love this bird so far. It's so pretty and gives me ideas for painting my lovely wild turkeys and chickens that roam through my neighbourhood. So that's good. And Margaret asks, what's he using for his palette? It looks like a cutting board.
Yes, it is a cutting board. So my one's got a texture which is a bit of an impediment when you want to clean it. Not a great one, but you've got to scrub it clean. If you can get a nice smooth one, and they're quite thick, about a quarter of an inch thick.
Yeah.
So it remains nice and firm. It's quite easy to clean.
Yeah.
There are things like a paint cleaner that are designed for artists' paint brushes. That would make the job even easier. But I've either a sheet of glass, which is not always convenient, especially if you want to paint out in situ, or plein air painting as we call it now.
Yeah.
These are portable and they work like a dream.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. All these common use materials. You don't have to go to a specialist art shop. We've got DIY knives and cooking utensils, and it's great.
If you're looking for cheap, I'm the man.
Yeah. Linda's asked, before the workshop, do they need to have sketched the antelope beforehand?
It would help. It certainly would help. It would cut down your fiddling during. It's not critical. I'm a little biased because I draw very quickly. But if you don't draw very quickly and you're slightly uncertain about yourself, and it's an animal that you're not madly familiar with, perhaps sketch it out first, so that you have an idea when you start of where you're going to begin. And if you use chalk, as I'd explained earlier, you can rub it out, you can leave it in. Chalk, I would think, is, so put down a background, soft background, just setting the scene.
Yes, okay.
The color might change later on, it doesn't matter. And when that's dry, then start your painting.
And Carol's asked, could she use liquid acrylic paint?
Yes, yeah. If that's what you enjoy, so you're going to get quite easily a kind of watercolor feel from that.
And Trina asked, when you sprayed the window cleaner, because we didn't quite see that, did you spray it everywhere, or was it just in that localized area where you?
In this localized area.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold the spray bottle a little back, 2 feet.
Okay.
Do that. See, it doesn't matter if there's more on here now. I don't know if you can see that.
Can't really see it on the board, but
okay.
Oh yes, you can actually see the light reflecting off it at the top. Yeah.
Don't squeeze it like you're going to clean a window. What you want are the little drops. And there might be other ways of doing it, everyone. You might like to pour some into a container and use a toothbrush and flick it off a toothbrush, or
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good
ways idea to do it. This is just my method.
And then you have to give it a bit of time for it to attach itself to the acrylic, and then you kind of scrape it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I said, don't leave that in that interval for too long. When it dries, you can't do anything about it. I'm mixing a little yellow into the red, again, and you'll see it better from this picture. Look at this little crown. It's like a yellowy orange ochre color. So I don't have any ochre on my palette at all. I just mix approximate colors. All I'm interested in at the end is, does it look like a guineafowl? And however you get to that conclusion is entirely up to each person's preferred methodology. The eye, like a doorway in a building that you might paint, immediately brings life. And it's quite square. I don't know if you can see that there. I'll put a tiny bit of light in it. And with the same dark color, and this is the Prussian blue, by the way, I'll just use this rigger, a few dots, just to imitate and then it has a beautiful little I don't even know what to call it. Technically, I wouldn't know what to call it. They're like little jowls hanging off the side of the, and they almost come off. And I'm not going to paint the whole thing. I'm going to suggest that they're there. So just a hint of color, namely red in this case. The hood is quite red. The little crown, or whatever it's technically called, I don't know, is a kind of yellow ochre. The beak is, I'm making it dark so that you can see it against this. What I'm going to do now, and this is purely, this is design, not necessarily because the painting, well, I think the painting needs it, but I just want to show you how I make contrasts a little clearer. Into the white. White on its own is quite a, it's quite a non-color. A tiny bit of the yellow that I've got, the lemon yellow in this case, and I mean just a little into the white. And when it's on, it seems whiter than white. I don't know if that,
Yeah, no, it looks great.
will get everyone in a froth, but it's nice. It kind of, and I'll bring a little bit of detail there too. And I don't want to overdo it. But I'm going to accentuate that and perhaps hint a little bit of grass. The extra spray that I've just put on, let me just take that off as well. Let's just see if it adds any more. Okay, that's made it quite interesting. And again, with a rigger, if you want to, you can draw a little bit of focus to some of these white dots by physically putting them on rather than etching them out as I've just shown. This is the kind of thing I would do in the full workshop. I'd spend more time on details like this. This is just to get you up and running and to show you that without a lot of effort, you can achieve a very, hopefully very interesting outcome. I'm going to clean my brush very slightly. I've got some warm water because it just cleans the brush off so quickly. I've cleaned this rigger off. I'm putting in a few stalks. I've brought a little bit of red into that blue mixture.
And that's with the end of the brush. That's not actually with the brush. That's the tip of the brush handle.
In fact, I use my finger just to give myself a little distance off the canvas like this, like that.
Now, Louise asked, do acrylic paints that haven't been used recently dry out, and how can you stop that if they do?
There must be methods that I don't know about. Unfortunately, I work very, very quickly. I've never tried to experiment to see how long a tube of paint, certainly acrylic, a tube of paint would last. I really don't know the answer to that. Look, it could be years. It's probably cheaper buying a fresh tube of paint than trying to resuscitate an old color that's dried up on you. I don't think that's a very helpful answer I've given. The answer is I don't know.
Jennifer said cover with foil or use a stay wet palette.
Stay wet. Okay, yeah. Yeah, those are available everywhere.
But unfortunately, that's a specialist art material, Derric. It's not your kind of cup of tea. That.
No, it isn't. I mean,
it needs to be a, I don't know, a Tupperware container.
Exactly, John. Tupperware.
Food.
It's a plastic. Oh my golly. You'll only learn bad habits from me, I'm afraid. What I'm searching for is my chalk. I'll just get another piece. The chalk.
Jane has said this has been a great unpanicked demo with wonderful tips to create the bird. So I think she's certainly enjoyed the pace of this because she's got good tips, but it hasn't been trying to do too many things in the short space of time. So it's been really good, Derric.
That's lovely feedback. Thanks very much for the comment. Shall I just draw? I'll draw the head here for those who would like to see more specifically what its head looks like. I think we've still got some time.
Yeah, we've got a few minutes, yeah.
Might be quite fun trying to see whether this would detract or make this painting. So here goes. Of course, those jowls that I spoke about there. Let's see what happens. I'll work fairly quickly on this one. Flat brush again, like a chisel. This red will change a little as I put other colors together with it. This is crazy, but while I've got the red, I'm going to move right down to those little jowls that I really don't know the technical name of. But they certainly make beautiful design, whatever it is. Now, the brush that I had the white on, I'm just going to dip it into the turquoise. There's a base color underneath which helps support this whole thing. In this case, much nicer than working on a pure white background. So it becomes hopefully part of the painting. Let's see if it ends that way. So that was turquoise, a little bit of cobalt blue, because there are these two colors. As soon as the eye goes in, you'll see Um, you'll get a better sense of the shape of its head. Okay. Remember the color that I mentioned, not necessarily ochre. I'm going to put a little bit of red with yellow. I'm mixing a little bit of white into that. We're going to just get its beak.
Oh, Diane's said maybe that little bit of red flab at the bottom, maybe they're called waddles.
Waddles, okay.
Maybe waddles. And she also loves the wispy, spontaneous look of your style of painting.
Oh, thank you. That is great.
Oh, wattle. Cherry said wattle.
Wattle.
Wattle, there we go. Trina said, I made several interpretations after taking Derric's class and workshop last month and will likely do the same with these birds. So many great tips and techniques to work with today, and the pace was fabulous. I really love Derric's work and use of everyday tools.
Oh, great. Lovely. Thank you.
We'll have to bring out the toilet brush next time.
Oh, I will. I've immediately thought of something. Those chickens. Don't laugh. That someone mentioned earlier. I forget her name. A rooster. Toilet brush for a rooster.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Just use another flat brush. White into the yellow. A little bit of Prussian blue in the red, just to darken it up. Like that. Fingers are permitted. A rigger, a little line around the eye. A white dot.
Great.
Perhaps
While you finish tinkering with this, I'll just bring things to a close gradually.
Thanks, John.
So, how have you got on? It's been a really fantastic session and class, and we'd really love to see what you've come up with. I've actually created a post relating to this arty class on Facebook where you can share a photo of your painting. The link is also in the description below. And do post whatever you've done. It's brilliant. And if you see have a look at what other people have posted as well, and if you see things you like, don't be afraid to just give them a little thumbs up on our Facebook channel, Shopkeep Arty on Facebook, and post it there. As we near the end of this show, if you've got any words of thanks that you'd like me to pass on to Derric, please write them on the Q&A or on the YouTube chat now, and I'll relay them to him towards the end. While you do that, I want to turn my attention to our most important attendees, our patrons, because being one of our patrons is not the only best way to save money on our workshop webinars or get access to our entire video catalogue, but your monthly contribution also helps to keep these free weekly classes running throughout the year. This week I've got some new patrons to welcome to our exclusive Arty community. So let me press our button of thanks just behind me, and we will say thank you to... I've got some long names today. Kathleen Kazmierski, Christine Montanaro, Claire Walker, Anne McConaughey, Paula Barbuto, Nancy Wentzler, and Sue Henningsgaard. So thank you very much, everyone, for your support, and I know you'll enjoy all the special events coming up. In fact, tomorrow we've got a patron Q&A to share with you all our plans for the next month, including an update on our global co-host recruitment that's been going on. Then this Thursday we've also got a special arty class with animal artist Liz Chatterton, where we're going to be creating another bird, actually, but this time with pen and wash, a real tweet. Oh, I couldn't resist that. The end of another great arty special. If you do want to join Derric and I for the full workshop event, then spaces are limited, so don't wait too long. Before I go, let's go back to Derric, and I'll pass on some of the comments that I've had sent in. So fabulous artist from Jennifer, really enjoyed today's session, could watch him paint all day, cannot wait to try his techniques. Helen said, beautiful, vibrant, energetic painting. Katie, this is a great demo, really love the loose style and the various techniques being used to describe the bird. Melissa, I'm watching the real guineafowl running across the estate here in South Africa while watching Derric paint them. Love Derric's use of colours and techniques. Trina, I've got several bins of funky tools that were originally intended for who knows what, but now I'm going to dig them out and use them. Jane, wonderful, thank you so much. Linda, very interesting and very helpful, thank you. Patricia, thank you, loved it. Sydney, he provided the most inspiring hour to start my day in the US. Zora, thank you so much for the demo and the tips. Sue, fabulous session, and I love the looseness and colours you've used. Kathy, beautiful painting. Pat, what a wonderful session, thank you so much. Jean, thank you, Derric, really enjoyed watching the bird grow. Marion, thanks so much. Susie, thanks so much. I agree that the pace has been perfect, really enjoyable session. Johan, Derric, again, by Danke, so that's Johan. Jasmina, thank you, Derric. Birgit, thank you for a wonderful painting demo. Stella, many thanks, Derric. Liz, thank you, really enlightening with loads of interesting tips. Renee, loved the way the white contrast created movement in the guineafowl. Thank you for the fantastic workshop, loved it. Dee, many thanks, I'm ready to get painting using these new techniques. Cherry, keep coming back, Derric. Lee, loved this, Derric. I have very dried up acrylic, so did it in oils, very difficult. So Fran, excellent demo. Lala, thank you very much, Derric. That was so inspiring. I paint with watercolours, not acrylics, but I don't understand how to use them, but this has been inspiring. Rose, thoroughly enjoyed painting our turkeys. And Diane, thank you for starting my day off with such a fabulous demo. And Patricia on YouTube said, wonderful workshop, loved it. So Derric, some lovely comments there, and it's been a pleasure to have you on again. And it's been really looking forward to the workshop, obviously next week. That's going to be really fantastic, and those just that whole setting, and you can really kind of you can just sense the heat and the environment with those antelope, and they're drinking from that water. It just looks fantastic. So thank you for joining us. If you're taking part in Javid Tabatabai, oh gosh, I keep on trying to pronounce his name and it's quite tricky. So it's Javid Tabatabai. If you're joining me for his 2 to 3 hour watercolour masterclass, I'll see you in about 30 minutes. If not, hope to see you this Thursday for the Arty special, or indeed next Tuesday when we're going to be zooming to Malaysia at a special time of 1 p.m. UK time for a free class with Jason Yao. Anyhow, it's goodbye from me. But obviously, thank you so much. And I will finish on the painting, don't worry. Thank you so much for all your time and generosity again to Derric. Thank you so much, Derric.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
And a big round of applause. And I'll finish on your... yes, it's great. And I'll finish on your painting. Until next time.